Hey, what's up, guys?
Philly!
What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
So what's up, guys? Welcome. Exciting week for most of us, right? Actually, all of us. There's no bye weeks on week one. It's week one of the NFL season, right, guys? Finally.
It's week one. We got football is officially back. This weekend, we had some good a good kind of appetizer. We got the appetizer sampler, with all the college football. I mean, college football was basically on from Thursday to Monday.
Yeah.
And it was just full force, a couple games a night. Yeah. Saturday, I think I looked at the schedule. There were 86 games scheduled this weekend. So it was like, if you wanted football, there was football to be had.
Definitely. Yeah.
But it was nuts. I loved it. I figured out why I like college football.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't have a team. Like, I didn't grow up with a team. I didn't go to a big school. I didn't grow up like in a house that rooted for, a Penn State or a Notre Dame or whatever. Like, I just like watching football. Like, so I can watch from noon until midnight, whatever it is. And, I got to see Alabama kind of take over the college football scene. But all the way into like watching LSU and UCLA that night. And, so ACC, SEC, Pac-10, Pac-12, like I love watching all those games.
I was reading this actually wild ass stat was like Alabama lost like what? It was something like 17 first teamers, yet they're still like continuing. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's just literally next up there.
Factory, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they got five. When you think about it, they've got 5-star guys that are riding the bench, that are just waiting in the wings. So, it's not a surprise that like the guys that they bring, the next guy up is, just as good, if not better, than the next guy that they're replacing. Right.
Yeah, seriously. That just shows like people want to just play for that. Like imagine being told, hey, you're not going to start till your senior year, but it's going to be worth it because you're going to be really good probably. Like,
I mean, just the insurance policy that they have, knowing that they go in there most of the time, it's probably – I mean, I'm sure 100% of the guys that enter the draft that are draft eligible probably get drafted or signed at some point when they're on that roster. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. It's just I would just – being a competitor, it'd be hard for me to be that good. And then, like, I'm going there and they're like, yeah, this guy's a sophomore, though. Like, he's our quarterback. We want him to start, or, any position, defensive lineman, and how good you are. And then you can go to Tennessee and start day one, or you can go to South Carolina and start day one, or you can go to Alabama, wait 2 years, even if you're good and you show out. It's like, do you want to do that? That's the fine line, I guess, you have to kind of sit on. Because as a competitor, you're like, no, I want to play. I want to get as many games in under my belt as I can for when the draft comes. This way scouts have more tape on me. Mm-hmm. I know where I need to improve on. I've been playing SEC football for 4 years or 3 years, however long you stay. So, I mean, I get it. People want to go. Brand. Alabama's a brand now.
And that's the thing I think people bank on. I think they bank on the fact that they know they're going to go there. They know they're going to get coached up. They know they're going to the pedigree is there for them to be able to say they're an Alabama. When they're coming from an Alabama program, they know that when they come to the next level, they're going to be able to produce on a. I mean, when they've got as many guys as they have that are going to the next level, I mean, in my mind, like that's the first place you look when you're looking to replenish talent on your team. Sure. You're looking at the Alabamas, the LSUs, that SEC, like those skill players at those schools are going to be the guys that are going to just produce day in and day out. Like you're looking at guys like Jamar Chase, like Devontae Smith, like those guys are going to come in and they're going to produce day one. And me, like I'm looking at, the Eagles having 3 first-round picks. Like, I'm just going to say they're going to have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds next year.
Yeah.
You know, a guy that I was watching on Saturday night, Stingley, the DB from LSU. Like,
yeah, he's a stud.
Just a stud lockdown guy. Like, that's a guy that is going to be in your wheelhouse next year to be able to secure, to start to secure your secondary and build that young nucleus of talent for this team.
Yeah.
So I think, and one of the things, when we're talking about the Eagles, like, if Hurts can secure his foothold on being the guy that they can build around, then that opens up that opportunity for them to use those 4 draft picks in that first 2 rounds to say, we're going to get 4 of the first, 64 players. We're going to get the best. We're going to get the best guys available for us, and not have to press, package guys, make a move and move up and trade for somebody, or draft a quarterback.
These quarterbacks in this draft are no good. I don't like any of them, so it's not it. But yeah, Oscar, football's back, baby, and that's what everybody likes to see. Like, this weekend was an appetizer. The NFL coming. I personally like the sport of college football better.
Bring on the zest.
Nice. Bring out the zest, baby. Bring out the zest. That's what the Eagles did. They bring it out. So I personally like college football better. I think it's just a better product because the environment, like the Oscar, the stadiums are packed, they're rocking, everybody's going nuts. It's just like, this is what we want. NFL games are great. Ultimately, all the teams are competitive. You're not going to get a game of – you're not going to get like some of these games you'll see like a Florida State against like a Richmond or something like that, like a random team that's like they're only playing, they're getting paid to play, they're trying to do good by their program, but like it's really not a competitive game. You're not going to get that in the NFL, but and then when the underdog does win in college football, it's even better.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like –
right, when you got an App State that comes in and beats Michigan.
Yeah,
a game like that, but
just the sport, the product is better just because of the environment, like the stadium environment, the love for the game. Like down south, a lot of those guys, there's not a lot of pro sports, like just in general down south, really, especially football. Like you have the Atlanta Falcons and then like the Panthers, but that's really it for like Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas. All those states love college football, so that's really the event down there. So, like, I'm sure going to a game in Alabama is probably sick. It's probably sick.
Absolutely.
I would imagine.
Yeah, that's like, even like I went to Rutgers, so it wasn't nothing special when it comes to like atmospheres. When you think about like atmospheres like Ohio State, Michigan, like when you think about those type of teams, Texas and whatnot. But like it was so much fun. Like no matter what, even if the team sucked, you're going to have a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. Student section goes hard every time, man.
I mean, and some of those student sections were crazy. Like Blacksburg when they were, that student section. I think what's the other one? The other one I saw was Wisconsin.
Yeah, they do the jump
crazy.
around.
Yeah,
they do that all the time.
It's crazy. It's dope. I think for me, what's my favorite college football team? I mean, like I said, Chris, like I just love college football. God, who's a team that I like to watch? I mean, a team that's kind of in it year in and year out, like a team like LSU. The atmosphere, I actually fell in love with LSU when Shaq was at LSU. But like I love the logo that they do in the middle of the field. It's like it's not the whole tiger, but it's just the eye and it kind of fades out into the field. Yeah. And they just put out quality talent. A guy that's on the Eagles practice squad, the guy that they drafted in I want to say like the 6th or 7th round, like as a guy, I think is a project guy who they can start to build around.
The Ja'Cory Stevens?
Ja'Cory, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with like just the college football in general. We know Oscar's favorite team is Rutgers because he's a Rutgers alumni.
Yep.
His favorite player from Rutgers is Kenny Britt. Now, who's the other one? There's another receiver.
Mohamed Sanu, bro.
Mohamed Sanu. That's right. That's your boy, Mohamed Sanu.
They put a beat down on Temple.
Yeah, that was nice to see. That was just exciting.
Yeah, Temple used to be a good program, but once they lost Matt Rule, man, it's been hard to replace him. He's a really good coach. You know, you can see that now. He's in the NFL. So
yeah, they've gone through a string of guys since Matt Rule left, and they're
trying to keep. They always try and keep it's like sort of like how Temple and St. Joe's basketball used to be back in the the early 2000s. They would keep all that Philly talent, a lot of South Jersey talent, like in that area. They would keep them kids to stay home, and they would get them to play at Temple. This way, their family could come watch them play.
Right.
A lot of those kids now, it's like if you're that good, you're not going to go to Temple and play football. You know?
Yeah, it's a shame.
It's not. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
But like now, I feel like that's the kind of the opposite problem for Rutgers. Like now, kids from Jersey want to go to Rutgers, which is a change, I think, from the past, let's say, 20 years.
And it's a big draw. Them being in the Big Ten, them being playing in a bigger conference, having a bigger draw, playing, getting the opportunity to play some of those Big Ten teams.
Yeah,
is definitely something that they can recruit on, and it's something that locally speaking that Temple really can't compete with playing in the AAC.
Yeah,
that they're just not playing the same level of talent that a team like if you're picking between if you're picking between D1 offers, the lure to play on that big stage is it's definitely going to happen more.
Yeah, especially Rutgers is what 45 minutes from Philly most of the time, you know what I mean? So it's not that much farther, so the parents can still drive 45 minutes to an hour to come see you play. Yeah, and I mean, like Oscar, before you went there, like right when we were in high school, they used to have a lot of really good players. I mean, they put a lot of players in the pros. Bill Belichick's been famous for drafting. He has a lot of Rutgers guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your boy is just starting running back on the Ravens right now. Gus Edwards, he's a Rutgers guy.
Yep, that's true.
Gus the Bus. They've always put like a lot of really talented players in the league, like on both sides of the ball. So just because they never actually put it together fully and won the conference. Like I remember what was the quarterback? Mike Teal, I think it was, and they had like the Ray Rice years and the Harmon brother, the Harmon twins.
Gary Vogel years, bro. That was like the closest we've ever gotten to being actually like in a bowl game, and then he screwed that up last. Yeah,
they had the who are the twins that are on the McCourty twins that are on the Patriots? All them guys were on the same team. They were a really good team. That was the Kenny Britt team before Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah,
that team was really good, and they just lost in the bowl game. They had a pretty good year, and they just couldn't do it. But they put that team has a lot of players still in the pros.
Yeah, that's wild. It's wild to look back at that stuff.
Yeah, like you think about it, like Bill Belichick's secondary was mostly Rutgers people for a long, long time.
He had Duron Harmon, Devin McCourty.
Yeah.
He would like a lot of his players. Like he would take. I would look at the roster. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know this guy. Like guys that are playing, he wouldn't even really know. They're like, he would have like 6 or 7 Rutgers guys always on his roster. Like like this dude. He said before he liked the way Shiano coaches players back then. You know what I mean? He's like, I like the way that they're coached. They come in, they're ready to play.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can't knock it.
Yeah, definitely can't.
They got to bring it back. They're trying. So
at least, they're giving Cristiano access to a private plane, right? They better bring it back.
They got a lot of money up there. You know that school's not hurting for money.
Oh, hell no.
So now if you want to be in the Big Ten and be a competitor in that, you have to spend like Michigan does, like Ohio State does, like Michigan State does, like Penn State does. You got to spend that money to get the players you want. So.
Right. And those NIL deals are going to be huge for recruiting kids to be able to make those connections with local businesses, get them hooked up with, so the schools being able to build those partnerships within the community to be able to say, hey, listen, when you come here, we're going to get you a name, image, likeness deal with whatever. And
it's also close enough to New York too, where you can pull from the New York market to try and put your name out there. You can go say, hey, we're gonna take a 30-minute bus ride, all the team. We're gonna go sign autographs in NYC. Right. Put our name out there, get the program map out there, invite kids to camps, all that stuff. Like you got to do stuff like that.
And the craziest thing about it, I was reading into that this weekend, is that like it's not necessarily just money that like it could be, that you are a spokesperson for a restaurant and you get meals, or you're a
For a college kid,
spokesperson
that's
for
big. That
this.
is money, man. You get free meals when you're in
Right,
college,
right,
Yeah.
absolutely, right.
especially
And
at a
it
restaurant.
could,
Not like the cafeteria food. I can go to a restaurant and I can get a prime rib and some mashed potatoes for a big game. I'm going.
right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Or, it could be, a situation where it's like you may not necessarily get paid by the car dealership, but they might give you a car on lease. Like it's
Even
those
better.
kind of things that like, for programs like Rutgers, it could be the difference between, you being able to say, hey, listen, we've got these name, image, likeness things in Philly, in New Jersey, in New York, where, Temple might not be able to offer as much. So the name, image, likeness thing is going to be a big thing to watch as a recruiting tool for the teams moving, as that becomes more a more prominent thing to look at.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
Yeah.
So Nick, as far as like NFL stuff, what's the thing you're looking forward to most?
I think
for this season.
I think initially what I always get excited for is like so I don't have Red Zone now. I used to always have Red Zone, and I used to always wait till I hear, Scott Hansen's voice come on and he would start like, hey, we're underway, and I would watch it. But getting away from Red Zone now, I actually go back to – I actually like it because I can watch just like a full game and you can see some of the stuff. Red Zone is all just the action and stuff like that. I like just watching – a football game. Last year was quiet, no fans in the stadiums. This year it's going to be good to hear people booing, yelling at the refs. Ref, you suck. I like all that. What are you guys doing? A guy makes a bad throw. You go 3 and out, 3 bad play calls. The typical Doug Peterson, they'd come out. They would do like a, stupid pass on the first play. Then they'd run the ball 2 times in a row. They would go 3 and out. People start booing. I just want to see the energy in the stadium, and that's really what it is. Watching a full game. I want to watch a full game too. Like I'm away from the Red Zone right now. I still check, constantly. You're going to see stats. I'll still check the stats and scores because of fantasy football related stuff. But just turning on a game and watching a full game. It doesn't have to be the Eagles, because when it's the Eagles, sometimes you get too annoyed, and you know what I mean. Like if I'm watching like Thursday night, Cowboys Bucks. Obviously, I hope the Bucks win 70-0. But I can watch that game and just enjoy the game itself and not be like annoyed at a call or, oh man, they missed that call. Why are they doing that? Refs are screwing us. Right. Why would they call that play? I can just watch it and not care and just enjoy what's happening. Right. That's what I'm looking forward to, because it's been a long time. Even last year's season was kind of out of whack. So now it's kind of more, you saw college football, man. People are happy to be back in the stadiums.
Yeah, I think that, like, for me, that was like, that's the thing that I thought about when I thought about that. Like, what am I looking forward to? Like, just people, like the environment that I saw in college football this weekend, and how much of a difference that makes in the presentation of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
To me, that makes everything. Like, it creates the environment that, because last year it was very like matter of fact. It was like, yeah, there's a game going on. Yeah, there's a game here. But it was kind of like just like perfunctory. It was just kind of like there. And I think that affected the product of the game on the field too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that fan interaction, because it's kind of like that saying, you don't really know what you have until it's gone. And that was the first time that we've ever had to observe something like that, where there's no fan interaction at all. It's literally just the game. So
no, yeah, I think it's just sports in general. It definitely affects the outcome of the game. And like literally the game without fans
there's no home field advantage. There's none of that. It's all gone.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. Like like you said, it was just kind of like there. It was just a game. And like it's people say like it doesn't affect players, but it really does. Like if you need that little bit of a push, like you guys are only down by 7, let's say, fans can give you that extra energy, and it's not a lot. They really could.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you seen like guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, get guys to jump off sides or, all that type of stuff because of crowd noise or, being able to quiet the crowd, tell the crowd be quiet, and then they get in with the fake call. Or like, Oscar playing defense, it's 4th and 1, they bring their offense out, and you're like, damn, man, I'm tired, man. They just keep it on the field for 5 minutes, it feels like. My legs are tired. This guy's just as big and pushing me, and then the fans get behind you, and they're like, let's go get the stop. And then you're like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to do it one more time. I just need one more stop. And you get that extra adrenaline shot, you know what I mean? And you're like, all right, I'm going to give it all I got one more time. And then you get a stop, and then there's nothing better than you get that you get that penetration, you get the hit in the backfield, coming up, fired up. Everybody's yelling for you. It's like, that's awesome, bro. There's nothing like when you do that in a game, like your teammates are hyped up and your coaches are hyped up, but it's like you look up and you don't see anything. You know what I mean? It's like I'm playing the NFL, I'm playing in the Major League Baseball, like I'm playing in the NBA. Like I want to see people looking at me, booing me, cheering me. Like I like that. That's how they should all feel that way. Yeah,
definitely. And that's like it goes back to like the Cristiano Ronaldo has this quote, and it's so funny that a lot of people use it. It's like your love gives me, makes me stronger. Your love makes me stronger. So like whenever he hears the love, he gets so much stronger to feel. But it's like the hate I hear is what makes me unstoppable. And like he literally, like any boost he hears, that's like 10 times more.
Oh yeah. And it's out of respect too. You boo guys like that because you know how good they are, and you're like, you don't want them to beat your team, but it's like you're booing them out of respect. Like if it's a nobody, I'm like, I'm not booing him. He stinks.
Yeah, seriously.
And you're like, all right, this dude's one of the best soccer players ever. So we're booing you because we know at any minute you decide you want to turn it on, you can just dominate.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like that MB quote from this past week when he's talking about like hearing that criticism is fuel. That's what I use to make sure that the next time that I show out, you're not getting the same product. Which
that should be how they all think, man. But we know that they don't, and that's part of the problem.
Exactly. Who's the bust out guy for you, Nick?
For the Eagles or in general?
For the Eagles. Who's the guy who's going to bust out who's not necessarily on the radar now, but at the end of the season?
It's tough because there's a lot of love for Quez Watkins now. He's one guy people like. I really like Gainwell. I just hope that I know Sirianni will find a way to use him the right way. You need a running back like that in today's NFL. The offense they want to run, they need a guy that can, get out in space, catch the ball. I think the last game he had like 5 catches for 27 yards, had a touchdown, had a couple first downs. He seems like he likes to catch the ball. So I would look for him. We really need somebody on the defense to kind of pop. I feel like the defensive line, we know what we're going to get out of those guys. I'm not worried about them. We need a linebacker. Ultimately, the corners, we got 2 veteran corners out there. Like I know what I'm going to get out of Slay and Nelson. I'm not worried about the safety so much. Ant Harris is a good player. McLeod comes back. He's a good player. But we need one of these linebackers. Like Singleton, you know what he is, but we need one of the other guys to pop. We need one of these young kids that's getting a starting spot. They said that, they like the Eagles have said they like their depth at linebacker. I don't necessarily like their depth at linebacker because they have a lot of depth guys. They don't have that one guy. I'm like, all right, this guy is my anchor. So we need the anchor. There's a couple guys that they really like. We'll see. I'll take any of these linebackers to flash because in today's NFL, you need linebackers that can flash. They can cover. They can pass rush. They can tackle. You know what I mean? Like I get it. Luke Kuechly's and Fred Warner's and Bobby Wagner's don't grow on trees. I get it. They don't. But they've also had their chances to get those guys, and they don't because that's not how their front office thinks about that position.
Right. That's
whether it was a combined philosophy with Schwartz, Peterson, and Howie. Like, I don't know whether it's a scouts thing, but we just need one of these guys to literally flash.
I'm looking at like a guy that you were just talking about in Singleton. Like he's a guy who I look at his journey to where he is right now, and knowing that at every level he had to fight to get to the next level of where he was, like starting in the CFL, getting a spot on the Eagles practice, getting a spot on the practice squad, working his way into playing time last year. Now is being named he's one of the 6 captains. Like seeing that the work level, the effort and the work that he's put in, and knowing that his goal is kind of always to get better, and kind of like he's a guy that I'm looking at to say, like, if that piece can flash, like you're saying, like if that piece can be something that, in watching him in some of the games, go back and watch some of the games from last year and some of the games, the preseason games from this year. Like when he's out there, he's all over the field, like just running around like an animal, just trying to make every single play. So
and he has to play that way,
right? And he plays like his hair's on fire. And I think that if he's in the middle doing that, and then maybe that allow that him covering whatever ground he can, allows the defensive line to be able to attack more, because because I think for me that is probably, if I'm looking at the strongest position group, it's probably got to be the defensive line. So anything that's going to help that that defensive line is going to help out the secondary, but I think that linebacker play could also help out and be beneficial to the D line.
I mean, one of the positives is Gannon has said before that he's going to cater his system weekly. It's not going to be a set system. It's going to be game plan based, which is how it should be. Schwartz, I'm tired of seeing the third and 16, and he puts the guys on sticks, and then Terry McLaurin has a 10-yard head start on Rasul Douglas and just blows by him. Like, we're not going to see that anymore, which is good, right? We're going to see, and I think that he's going to try and use these guys to maximize their skill set, not just line up my defense and, hey, like, if you can't play it, it is what it is. Because I've said before that a good coach will adapt their system to the players, not the other way around, not force his players to adapt to the system, because not everybody can do everything, right? We know what Alex Singleton is. We know he plays hard, but we know he's not Bobby Wagner. That's okay. We need the other group. We need Eric Wilson, Davion Taylor, TJ Edwards. We need these guys to step up. And also, who's going to be another guy that this year shows me, hey, he's all over the place like Alex Singleton was last year. Who's the guy that's gonna be that guy that steps up, right? There's a couple guys that I like. I really like Kayvon Wallace too. I was interested if he was going to end up starting this year. I mean, they said McLeod might be ready for week 1. I still wait and see. But ultimately, Kayvon Wallace is going to have to get those reps, because McLeod's probably not coming back after this year anyway. So you have to see what you have in that kid. I mean, he's from Clemson. I'm sure he was a 4 or 5 star recruit. He's won big games there. He's a good player. It's just kind of finding. In college, you can get away with being a linebacker, Satan, and being a hybrid and getting away with stuff. The NFL scheme is more intricate. If you can't do everything, NFL quarterbacks will pick on you. That's fine. So it's kind of just waiting to see how he grows into the role that they decide to use him in. Right. But there's a couple guys. I mean, I'm not worried about the offensive line. They made the right decision with Mailata being the starter. Should have always been. It should have never even been a conversation, because he's a mutant. The dude is a freak. So it's
crazy.
Like,
I think this line is healthy. Is a guy.
Yeah, if this line is healthy, I think that bodes well for the offense, because
that was huge last year. Last year, having that kind of
you're gonna get
of like that, like in the 16 games they had 14 different starting lineups. Like that never helped. That never.
They couldn't get it right, and nobody really stepped up the way they could be. They had a lot of guys that didn't want to move positions, or they play one position and they were terrible at it. It's like, you have to be more versatile. I think that's why a lot of these linemen that they kept can play multiple positions. Like, Samalu's going to start, but he can always move to center if need be. He can play both guard spots. The same thing with, they like the kid, Brett Toth, because he's a guard and a tackle. He can swing both ways. It's pretty much set up. It's set up pretty good. I mean, I like
Dickerson can do, but he's going to end up either taking over at center or taking over at guard.
This year, if you need him to step in a guard, hopefully he's healthy enough and he can do that. I mean, it's versatile.
Yeah.
The plan was always, I think, for him to replace Kelsey at some point. But if he can, if he plays this year, it's a plus because nobody was really banking on that. So we'll see, man. I mean, like, you're gonna have to. I need Jalen to show me he can sit in the pocket. I know he can throw on the run. I know he can get out and move. I want to see him this week. I know Atlanta's rosters. It's kind of bad, right? I mean, they don't really have any star players on that defense like they did when they went to the Super Bowl. That's been gone. So we want to see if they can get pass rush. If they can't, great. But then if there's no pass rush, then I want to see Jalen sit in the pocket and try and pick apart a defense without using his legs. That'll show me he's learning and he wants to try to do that. You know what I mean? It's like everybody always compares him. Oh, is he the next Russell Wilson? Okay, if that's your comparable, because size-wise they might be similar. Russell Wilson's arm is a 10, right? And Jalen Hurts is on a 5, a 6 maybe. He doesn't
6 on his best day, right?
He doesn't have that arm talent. It's just not there. It's fine. But Russ also has shown me he can sit in the pocket if he wants to pick you apart. He can do that, you know? Now, once you do that, then your legs become even more dangerous. Then when you get out, then you're even better. So if he can do that, we'll be fine. The issue is going to be if he's got, you know, my lot is what, 6'8". You got him on your left side, and Jalen Hurts is barely 6 foot. He looks over, and you got Quez running across a slant. Can you see him? Can you get him that ball over Mailata? Because he's a freak.
Right.
And then if they're not getting pass rush, Oscar, you know, if you can't get pressure, you see that quarterback go to throw, you put your hands up. Right, you're trying to knock the ball down, trying to deflect the pass, get an interception, get a turnover. So, like, that's why I'm kind of concerned with his size. That is why the NFL scouts and GMs and brass talk about the height so much as a quarterback, because these linemen are all bigger, and it is hard. It's just hard to see over these guys when you're that size, you know.
Oscar, who's the guy that you're looking at besides Joe Flacco?
So obviously Joe Flacco is, honestly, it really is just Devonta Smith. I just want to see him in the NFL, see what he can do. It's actually an exciting prospect. Kind of ran through college football at that position. See what he could do here.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm
with you. Open. He makes that first one big play, man. People are going to go nuts.
Yeah,
people are going to go insane. I mean, I would. Yeah, I always think back to that TO preseason game with McNabb when they just like something like that. You know, when they at that first home game, that place will literally implode on itself.
Especially since like the first actual home game, that would be
good. People are missing. People's season tickets are missing games last year. It's like they're itching to get back, and they're like, "I need this, man." You know, and Football Sunday in Philly for real Eagles fans, that is their church, man. You know what I mean? That is their gospel. So they're going there and they're letting it out. They're going to be going hard, man. It's going to be. I just want to see if I can. I want you guys that are going to the game to be loud so I can hear you through the TV.
Seriously,
I want to hear you yell, "Fuck you!" I want to hear the "you sucks." I want to hear all the raunchiness. You know, it's fine.
Definitely. Just don't throw any water bottles on the field.
We don't need any more of that, man.
All right, let's push it up to some water bottles. Speaking of water bottles, just because it's basketball that we're switching over to, did y'all see the documentary of the Malice of the Palace?
I watched that on Tuesday.
Yeah.
On Netflix.
It's wild.
That was insane.
Yeah.
But to hear Ron Artest talk about that moment in such like this like monotone calm was just like, I mean, talk about like he's working on mental health. In the middle of all that, he lays down on the press table because his therapist said lay down and count to 5 when you get in a stressful situation. So he's in the middle of Auburn Hills with 25,000 people screaming, yelling. His teammates are fighting a fight that he started, and he's laying down on the table.
He's like, I don't want to punch anybody right now.
Oh, my God. that was literally insane. I mean, heartbreaking for like a guy like Jermaine O'Neal, who like after that never really got his career back on track.
Yeah.
The guy like Reggie Miller, who that was like his legit best shot to win a NBA championship. But just crazy how like that one thing just changed the trajectory of that team the rest of the season.
The rest of their life.
Yeah, that like a lot of them are going to live with that. Yeah, no matter how good of a player they were, that's all they can think about. Like Ron Artest was a really good player, and now people are just attribute him to that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you know what? And kudos to Oscar, that one part where they're interviewing him when post game after he won the championship with the Lakers.
Yeah.
And he had the forethought to speak to guys like Reggie Miller and Jermaine O'Neal and like almost essentially apologize to them because what he did kind of cost them their opportunity for that. But it was crazy.
Yeah. That's the funniest part right? It's like the one who instigated it's the one who ended up getting an NBA championship in the first place.
Nobody else even really sniffed that whole scenario right there. It was crazy.
But yeah, speaking about Ben Simmons, you were talking about some interviews that were done.
Oh my God! So I had to listen. I listen. We say all the time, support your local podcasts, and but sometimes there are certain people that like I tune in to kind of get the barometer of where people are. But Charles Barkley's take on Ben Simmons was kind of spot on, which is basically like, we paid you $200 million. We're not asking you to go in and light the world on fire. Like, we're asking you to go in and shoot. And you didn't. We're holding you accountable as a fan base. And in so many words, I know that Nick, you were talking about some stuff going on behind the scenes with Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers and some stuff that went on with the James Harden trade. But I mean, to not have the ability to hold yourself accountable in that moment after that Hawks game and say, I got to do better. And to say, I am who I am. Just the more information that's coming out cements the fact that, like, all right, he has really played his last game. He really needs to be somewhere else.
It's a tough situation because I get the whole ruining his value. He's doing this, he's doing that. I get it. And then people don't want him here. But ultimately, I don't want to just give him away. And a part of me wants to be very petty with this because of how him and Rich Paul handled it as well.
I'm with you.
So
I'm 100% with you.
If I can send to Oklahoma City, bye. If I can send you to Indiana, bye. I'm not going to send you to the Lakers or the Warriors or a team that you would prefer to go to. Like, don't even give me that list, bro, because I'm not. I know you don't want to go play. You don't want to go play
Siberia.
Yeah, you don't want to go play in Minnesota. That's fine. Then you're going to go play in Minnesota. It's like the situation originally, they said it all started basically because there whole James Harden thing came up, and the Rockets actually did like the deal that Morey offered them, which did include Simmons, and Simmons was apparently told through Rich Paul that there was it was more than likely he was going to be traded as for James Harden. But as we came to find out that the Rockets didn't want to trade with Daryl Morey, ultimately they took an offer that might not have been as good just to avoid trading with Daryl Morey because of how he left, his time with the Rockets, which I think is kind of dumb to do that if you're an owner just because you don't like a guy. It's fine.
Petty. Right.
So he kind of was pissed off about that, which I don't know how you can be annoyed, bro. If the deal falls through, the deal falls through. Like it happens all the time.
Right.
So there's that, plus the fact that then he said, there was the fan, like he can say what he wants about the fans, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I watched a lot of those playoff games. I'm pretty sure I watched every one of those playoff games. And I remember him going to the foul line every time. We were cheering for him to make every free throw. We weren't like, oh my God, dude, you suck, make a free throw. We were like, come on, you can do it. Just
for Christ's sake, like the one guy, the guy standing like, behind there,
just shoot the ball this way. Use your legs.
He's literally going like you're in like CYO like biddy basketball where the guy's like, come on, like hold it like this, shoot it like this. Like
and then when he made one, everybody would support him. We were like, listen, we know everything that on the court that you do that is great. We know that. We literally just ask you to do one minor thing in basketball that every other player on the court is doing, except for you. Why are you not doing it? So the fan thing, I'm not too worried about that. A lot of people say they can't handle the media, but I also say that if you can't handle a city that you're playing in, then that's on you, and you need to grow up and be a man about it. You're getting paid millions and millions of dollars to entertain these people. 1, 2, that's just how the market is in some areas. They care about their teams more. That's fine. But like I said, if you can't handle it, maybe you shouldn't be a pro athlete as good as you are. If you can't handle, if you want to be a superstar in the NBA, you're going to have to, that's going to come with it. If you want to be a role player, if you want to be Furkan Korkmaz and talk to the media once a week and it's just on like 6 podcasts, sure, you can be that level of player. But if you want to be a superstar as you claim you want to be, an all-star, whether you're deserving of it or not, and you want to be anointed as, this great player since you were 15 years old, then, hey, there's a lot that comes with that. Handling the media is part of it. No matter what city you're in, you need to be able to handle it and not get so offended by it. He just wants to live that life, man. You see the stuff he posts on his Instagram, him in his Lamborghini. Bro, I don't care about your Lamborghini. I had to unfollow him this week because I'm like, he's posting videos of him like smiling, getting a haircut in his Lamborghini. I don't want to see any videos of you. I don't. I follow Embiid too. Have I seen any videos of Embiid posted on Instagram in a while?
Nope.
No, I don't. Because you know what he's probably doing? He's probably working on his diet and getting in shape. And he's probably getting buckets right now in the gym.
And that's the part, like Nick, you're like, you are 100% on the right path, because it's like he's more enamored with being that guy. He's more enamored with being the $200 million athlete, having the Lamborghinis, having the house in LA, having the pool parties, having the specialty chef at your house. Like, he's enamored with all of that, and he wants that, but he doesn't necessarily want the desire to be the best possible player he can be, because he is essentially the same guy today that he was when we drafted him. He's a 6'11" elite defender who can pass the ball.
He's a freak athlete, for sure.
He's a freak athlete, right? He's the guy, but like, there's nothing about his game that has changed. In the years that he's been in Philadelphia, there is nothing that has changed about his game. Meanwhile, like, and not for nothing, but like, this is why we fall in love with guys like TJ McConnell and Chris Coast, and name your other fringe athlete, right? Who is like on the tail end of the roster, but bust their ass every day. It's no wonder we cling on to those guys, because we identify with those guys.
And we appreciate them more, though.
Right. Where these guys, like, and listen, never did I ever think that, like, the whole Wentz thing would happen, right? But
yeah,
literally, like, he's basically telling Wentz to hold his beer. Watch me. I got this. I'm gonna do you 10 times worse than Wentz ever did. Like, to me, like, I look at that and think, like, wow, like, what did I miss as a like when I'm looking at those guys, what did I miss when I'm watching those guys, and I'm saying, like I jumped full force on board. Like, we were all on board with Wentz. We were all on board with Simmons at the beginning of that. Like, in my mind, I'm going back and I'm saying, like, how did I miss that? Like, what did I miss that I got so incredibly invested in those guys that, like, I didn't realize that they weren't nearly as invested in us?
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily that you missed anything or we missed anything as a whole, but it's just the attitude's changed, man. Once he got that max contract, you can see that, like, he started dating the models, and that's what he wanted to do. And listen, if that's what you want to do, bro, that's fine.
Do it.
But like,
Go do it somewhere else.
Man, your job is to score the basketball, bro. I get it. Like you're like, I'm an all defensive player. Yeah, that's great. But basketball players still get paid to score the basketball.
That's great.
There's a reason why, like, as good of a defender as Bruce Bowen was when we were growing up watching basketball, or before Patrick Beverly, there was the hell is his name? He was on the Grizzlies. Tony something, I can't think of it. Anyway, there's a reason why guys like that are great defenders that do that don't make more than, they don't make substantial money compared to other players in their sport. He really is just the most overpaid defensive player right now in the league. And as much as like we want to value him saying, hey, this is what he's worth to us. I get that. Teams are saying, okay, yeah, but why don't you want him, blah, blah. I mean, if you're Daryl Morey, you say, listen, he's under contract, bro. We'll bring him back. That's fine. He doesn't want to play. That's fine. He's under contract. He can just sit. That's not going to help him. So like, I'm on board with being petty too, because I think that that's how he is. He has the mentality of a 16-year-old girl. So it's like he can say he wants out and he can do this and that. Ultimately, we're not just going to give you away because you want out. The problem entails is that the NBA is basically run by LeBron and his cronies, which is Rich Paul, who has no experience and he just has his own company as an agent, and he's a jerk. He's a short guy. He's got short guy syndrome, around all these NBA players. So he thinks he's cool. He dates Adele. Great, bro. She's ugly. Good luck. So if he wants to be petty like that, I'm Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey is a very smart man. Elton Brand's a very smart man. Daryl Morey is not going to just give you away, right?
And Nick, that's where I'm at with it. Like, I'm not giving him away. Like, I would, if he wants to spend $1 million to not come to training camp, great. Spend $100 million. Spend $1 million. Don't show up to training camp. I am on the, and I just saw it pop up in the comments. I'm on the let them rock crew. Like, be gone. Like sit there.
Yeah. Let him rock, man.
And seriously, and just
you don't hurt a player's ego more by telling him he thinks he's that good. He's making that much money. Can't play today, bro.
Right.
Sorry. Or I said it's even more. You really want to hurt his feelings? You'll probably agree with this too, Don. Let him start. First time he gets an open look, he passes it up. Take him out of the game. Sit the rest of the game. Why are you sitting me? You had an open jump shot. You didn't take it. No, you had an open jump shot. Sorry, I'm not putting my team at that. Like Daryl Morey, I don't know if Doc would do that, but if Daryl Morey tells him to do that, he's going to do it. People can say hurt his value all he want. At this point, he's in the NBA. All that money is guaranteed. Now, if I'm Scott Harris or Josh Harris, I'm sorry, I just mixed them both up. So if I'm Josh Harris right now, and I said I just invested this much money in this guy, I get it. Like I want to recoup on my investment, either with him playing to that potential or for me getting good value back for him, whether that's other players' contracts or something. So our team's a good product. I get it. But ultimately, there's sometimes as a businessman where you're going to lose money and say, you know what? Let's teach him a lesson because he's taking my money. So I'm gonna hurt his pockets with endorsements because he's not gonna get endorsements if he's not playing.
Right.
Or he wants to go to LA or he wants to go to California and he wants to be near his villa. Maybe that's what he wants to do. That's great. But why don't I just like I said, we'll send him to Minnesota where nobody wants to play, where in January you can't drive, because you can't get out of the snow. Go play with players go to Rod up there. Look at Carlton Towns, as good as he was. He stinks. I don't want him.
Right.
They said apparently there was a deal from the Timberwolves for it was like D'Angelo Russell and Morey asked for Anthony Edwards. They're like, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I get it, T-Will, but I'm saying I will do whatever I can if I'm Daryl Morey to hurt this man's pockets because he's taking money out of my pocket by me having to trade him or me not getting the value I put into him. You know what I mean? But basically, that's a car. It's a car. It's like a car when you buy a lemon. You get a new car off the lot. It looks great, looks shiny, drives good for a month or two, and then the transmission goes on it. damn, I just bought this brand new Chevy truck. Now I gotta go get the transmission replaced. I gotta spend more money and put more money into this product that I shouldn't have to put money into. It's like, I get it. We knew what he was. It's partly the problem. But his argument with Rich Paul was, I'm an all-star. I make this team better. Yeah, basically Ikea. That's exactly what it is. Ben Simmons is Ikea. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's what he thinks he's a Lamborghini, because that's all I see pictures of him in his fucking Lamborghini shirtless. I don't care, bro. I don't care.
Listen, Nick, and I know you'll appreciate this, but like here's the moment that I had in my mind that I'm like most looking forward to is like post trade. He comes back in another jersey. He's actually playing. He's not sitting out because his tummy hurts or like his ankle doesn't feel well.
He was on his period that day.
Right. And he comes to the free throw line in the third quarter, and we got frosty freeze-outs on the line. And that place will never be more loud than the time that he's going to put up free throws when we got frosties on the line.
Yep.
Like that to me is like
sure.
that's the moment that I think about. Like that. And that's how petty I'm getting. They're gonna run out of.
They're going to run out of every Wendy's in the Philadelphia area. Going to be like, we ran out. They're going to start giving out free waters.
They're going to be giving out frosties and French fries and hamburger. They're going to have to give out the whole store.
We're going to have
that's how petty I'm at. Like I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't care. Just be gone. Like, but. Sure. You are on our dime right now, and we are not giving you away. So if that means that you need to sit, you're going to sit. Like sit, and and Rich Paul can say whatever he wants, because I got no time for that dude. And the clout that and listen, the NBA has created the clout for them in a way where they gave and empowered the agents and the players. So, the NBA got them. They got themselves into this bed. But I'm done with him, but only at the benefit of the Sixers. And I say this when I heard Charles Barkley talking about. And he made a joke about the guys that came back from that trade. The Tim Perrys and the I don't want the package back, because the package back is always crap. Like there's like the package that you get back in a trade is never good. I want him to be part of the package that goes somewhere else. And we're getting
Damian Lillard or bust, baby.
Like Dame. Like in my mind, there's three guys like Dame, Bradley Beal, CJ McCollum. Like one of those guys, if one of those guys shakes loose and comes back as part of whether it's a 2-team or a 3-team or 4, whatever it is, however many teams you got to get involved, whatever it is, I don't want the package back. That's kind of where I've reconciled myself with moving him out of town.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened with the original James Harden deal, where they trade him to the Rockets. The Thunder got a huge package for him. What did it turn out to be? It's like they got a couple role players. They never really got anybody good. It always happens that way because they see the number. Oh, we're getting 4 NBA players, and 2 picks. It's like, yeah, I mean, you're getting all this stuff, but what do you actually get? You're getting unproven commodities or guys that are just role players. Like that doesn't help us right away. So I agree. If we have to package him a certain way with picks or certain players, get what we want, and so be it. I mean, they might have to do that anyway to make the money work. That's okay. I don't care.
In my mind, Embiid's the only guy that doesn't move. Like he's the only unmovable piece.
That's probably it. And I mean, you just have to look at
everybody else is on the table.
I mean, yeah, and it all depends on certain players. Now,
You got to do what you can to compete with Milwaukee,
Yep, the Nets,
with Brooklyn.
The Bulls are making moves now.
The Bulls, Miami, like they're like in my mind, there are two teams clearly above you. Like Brooklyn is clearly above you, Milwaukee is clearly above you. So if you're not getting a star back, then it's a moot point because it doesn't make you better.
Yeah, I would like to keep Maxey. I know that that's tempting for guys, but I think that if I had my choice, like people love Dame and everything like that, if I had my choice, he wouldn't be my first pick. I get why, because he's a point guard and he is a baller, but I would prefer Bradley Beal if I could get him. That's just me. I think he's a better scorer. He can score from anywhere, and he's a killer, and he's
a walking bucket. Right.
Yeah, and I feel like here he would have no problem with he would have no problem with the media here because he seems like, he's fine. The biggest thing is people overreact with the media in the sports, right? We just want you to do your job on the field and you'll be fine. If you come in, if Bradley Beal scores 35 and they lose, we're not going to be like, God damn it, why couldn't you score 42? We're going to be like, damn, like, played a good game, bro. Like, it is what it is, and you own that. I get it. If you do what you're supposed to do, you will have no problems. It's when you don't do what you do, and then you're like, yeah, but the fans don't truly understand the game. When you say stupid shit like that, you're going to get under people's skin. You know what I mean? It's like, just because I'm not 6'10" and I haven't played in the NBA doesn't mean I don't know basketball, bro. Right. It's like, I don't know what it's like to be on the court with other NBA players, sure. But I know what my eyes tell me that you can't shoot a jump shot. I know that your free throw form is jacked and, you're not using your knees or you're not finishing your shot. It's like when it comes to baseball, I know when I'm watching a guy whether or not he can pitch, I don't need to be like, oh, well, I can't throw 99, so I have no say. No, like I can tell if a guy can pitch. I can watch a guy swing and be like, all right, he can hit. It's like that's the thing with the media here is always overblown. It drives me nuts. Like, nationally, they always are like, yeah, but Philly's a tough place to play. Yeah, it should be because we hold people accountable. That if you got a problem with that, then you shouldn't play here. If you have a job, any job in life, if I don't do my job, I get held accountable. You're a teacher. If you don't do your job, I'm sure your vice principal will be like, hey, Don, we need to have a chat. Right? It happens.
Hard and fast, right?
Everybody has to be just do what you're supposed to do and you will be fine. If you want to do above and beyond, great. But in this city, if you just do what you're paid to do, you will be fine. That's why Bryce Harper, it's all love now, brother. You're doing what you're supposed to do right now. This is why you're making this money because you're putting all these dudes on your back and you're saying, you know what? They can't beat me with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball right now. I'm going to hit it 420 dead center, and I'm going to keep us in games. You know what I mean? If we're doing that, we'll be fine.
Speaking of Bryce, how many games are we behind right now?
It's 1.5 going into tonight.
Game in and a half going. I mean, they're down 3-0 in the sixth right now. But like,
let me pull up the.
I mean, talk about like just mind-blowingly frustrating. Like
the Braves are up right now too, 5-1 7th. But the Braves are playing. The Braves are playing the Nationals, so
just like the yo-yo of this team, just like and I was talking with a friend of mine today. Like, if I guarantee you at that beginning of the season show, if I said, going into September, we'd be a game and a half out of first place, we all would have been like, sign me up for it.
Yeah.
But having watched this team all season long, knowing that like series, like when they drop 2 or 3 to the Marlins, or, they drop 2 or 3 to the Nationals, or those series are so frustrating because if you win 2 of 3, not lose 2 of 3, at this point now you're up 4 or 5 games easily. Yep. But because of that, we're now a game and a half back. It's going
to be 2.5 after tonight, man. They're not swinging at all. They have 2 hits tonight.
No. And that's the thing. Like, you got a game yesterday where they put up 12 runs. They shut them out.
Cy Young candidate. Yeah.
They get 16 hits, and then tonight they get 3. Like I just like the yo-yo and the inconsistency is it's frustrating, it's disheartening. It's like, but at the same time, I'm thinking like, fuck it, we're still in it. Like it's such a mind F because I'm like, I want to be all in, but I can't. I know that I can't. And like, I'm like, oh, fuck it. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, they really are. They're frustrating, man. It's like I've kind of given up the hype. I was like, let's go. When it got hot, I was like, all right, we're gonna run away with it. But now I'm just like, listen, if they get in, great. I mean, I want them to make the playoffs, but do I expect it? No, I expect them to do something at the end. Like Oscar, they'll be tied or a game back at the end of the game, and then they'll lose like a series to the Marlins. That's what's gonna happen. They're gonna play good. We can't beat the Marlins. What I'm saying, we lost 2 or 3 to the Marlins.
They'll play well enough to be in it right at the end.
You win 2 or 3, or you tie that series. We come into tonight a half game back. We lose tonight. We're still a game and a half back. But now if we lose, Braves are going to end up winning tonight. We're going to be 2.5 back again. We still got to play the Braves. Still got to play the Mets. They set the rotation up right, but Nola again. What are we getting out of him right now? He doesn't look. He looks kind of washed, man. I don't know what it is.
He really does. I mean, he looks like he just fell off the table and just is not able to get anything on a fastball, like leaving curveball, leaving curveballs and changeups in the strike zone. Guys are just attacking like they know what's coming.
And the Mets are going to win. And the Mets are up 2 now too. So it's like we had a chance with the wild card because the Padres, like they're in a really good division, obviously, and they're falling fast.
They just took a dump too. Like it's just,
and it's like, you know, they spent so. It's just funny. They spent so much money and all those resources, and the Giants didn't spend any money. They just added Chris Bryant. They just were like, you know, we're going to ride with our pitching. We're going to have some low risk signs, and it just works. It's like, I don't know what it is with the water out there, man, but the Giants, they do it all the time. It doesn't make any sense.
It's wild. It doesn't. It's
like the Rays, man. The Rays just have such a good. The Rays just draft and develop so well, and they scout so good. They always have all these young players, and just. I was reading the thing where like the Rays, I think they lead the league in like strikeouts, and there's like another stat where they're like a bad hitting stat, but they're like number 1 with like 2 out runs scored in the league. Like they just timely hit. Every pitcher that they bring in throws from a different weird angle, and they all throw 100. They all got nasty stuff. And it's like, I don't even know who these dudes are. They pitch them 2 innings, dude throws 100. Next guy comes in left-handed, 100. Nasty stuff. I'm like, where are they finding these guys? Like, how come we can get 0 of them? They have 20 on the roster,
and they hit on like it's amazing that more teams don't cherry pick out of that organization in terms of coaching, scouting, but like they draft and develop talent like nobody else, and it's so frustrating because we are literally on the exact opposite end. We draft and develop nobody, and they draft everybody and develop them into somebody, and they either bring them up and use them in pennant races to, ward off the Yankees, or like, and not for nothing, Oscar, but your Yankees are kind of holding it down too. But like the
game.
It's like, but you see it like that division too. They got the Blue Jays are spender, like they spend money now. The Red Sox spend money. The Yankees always spend money. These guys all dwarf the Rays with payroll, but the Rays consistently win this division every year, and it's just so, like, wow. It's just crazy because when they're doing it with so little, it just shows that if you do that stuff right, you can do that. That's why I don't understand, like you said, why we don't cherry pick, or at least like just watch. Like, I know that you're trying to do your own thing, but like if you're the GM of the Phillies or the head scout, wouldn't you be like, what are they doing that we're not doing? It's got to be something that we either haven't thought of, that we haven't done in a long time. Because we used to draft and develop well when we had Pat Gillick, you know what I mean? Like back to Pat Gillick years, the Ed Wade years, we drafted and developed really well. So, that's how we got that World Series. It's because
early 2000s.
Well. So, yeah, that's all. That's all. I don't want to talk about the Blues anymore because, they're going to end up letting us down. I just have a feeling that's just what they do. Really, Oscar? Knew that was coming.
Oh, God. What we got next?
All right. And then going on from that, we got the Flyers signing, making some kids sign some contracts, huh?
I mean, listen, they got Farabee to sign a 6-year extension, right? They got Couturier to sign an 8-year extension. I mean, every move that they made, which I love, because they identified what was their weakness, right? Their weakness was we have no back end to secure. So I love that everything was centered around securing young talent for the team moving forward to be able to build a base around, but also that it's defensively based, right? It's securing the back end so that you can put the goalie in the best position possible to be successful. And that's what, I'm this Flyers team is probably the one that I'm most excited about for this next upcoming season.
That's exciting.
Because their biggest issue was the goalie and not being able to help the goalie out. And every move that they made was in that vein to be able to help him.
Definitely. Yeah, you see, I'm lost in the Flyers. I just know that you have a pretty decent goalie, so that's pretty good, right?
I mean, that's the move that they've been kind of searching for forever. For them to be able to draft and develop a young goalie, and for that goalie to hit, it's them having this defensively centric roster, I think is only going to help. And you're going to, and I like that they didn't stand pat. They didn't say like, oh, we're going to make a bunch of fringe moves. Like they basically kind of, tore it down as much as they could and then build it back up and got rid of some old, some old, I won't even call them talent, but old players.
Mm-hmm.
And, replace them with guys that are either going to be strong on the defensive end or produce on the offensive end.
Yeah, I like their young core, so doing a good job keeping those guys. I think that, they're going to have a big bounce back year. Hockey's the one sport where it's like night and day, year to year, you know what I mean? Because injuries happen, coaching changes are a lot. They happen a lot in hockey. So teams go from worst to first a lot, right? So I think that they have the roster now. They got some youth in there, got rid of some, the Voracek, as much as I liked him, it was his time to go. So I'm glad that they were able to do that, get some younger players in there. I like spending money. I always want to see my team spend money. That's why we buy the merchandise. We go to the games. We watch them on TV. Get those TV deals. Spend your money, owners. That's why, that's if I was an owner, I would, you're making money. No matter how much you spend, your team still increases in value every year. So keep the money. So I'm looking forward to it. I know that starts up soon, actually. I think training camp starts in a week or two. 28th or something like that. It's like the end of the month.
Yeah, end of the month.
So it's going to happen quick too, man. That means that fall weather's coming, Oscar.
Yeah. Hoodie weather. Can't wait for that.
The shorts and hoodies.
That's what I'm going to wear I'm going to wear that all winter, actually, too. Whatever.
Well, why not, dude?
Yeah, right? Oh,
Oscar, before we move to final thoughts, we got to you and I kind of touch base on this, and you have to kind of shine your light on this, on your expertise. Talk to me about F1. And so something that I noticed if you have not seen the Drive to Survive,
it's amazing.
Seasons, there's 4 seasons on Netflix. If you have a home theater, if you've got a man cave with like a ton of speakers, like turn that show on, turn the volume up, It's insane.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. But the thing that blew my mind with all of this, and the thing that happened today, the drivers that switch affiliations with teams in the middle of the season, where they've already committed to another team, but they drive the rest of the season with the team they're already on.
Yeah, it's just
like, help me understand that.
So that's kind of like, it happens a lot in like European sports. Like, for instance, like, let's just say for shits and giggles, a soccer player contract runs out in 2022, May of 2022. At January, they could start negotiating with teams and then join a team in January, but still play out the rest of the season on the team they're currently on. So they just see out their contract. And the only reason they really do that is just that they know where they're going to be as soon as the season is over. They have a home. But yeah, like, that's like, it also speaks to the professionalism of these drivers, because like Bottas and Lewis are in the middle of a championship fight. And it just shows that Bottas is still, he's signed with Alfa Romeo. And let's be completely honest, it's not the best team to join.
Which also kind of when I saw that today, and he's a guy, the guy that is signed with the Mercedes group was in their driver program.
Yeah.
Right, because that was part of the last season that he drove for Williams, which was one of the Mercedes. They're at the bottom. Right. They're like a Mercedes B team.
Yeah.
Right. They're like right at the but they're in like the 7, 8, 9.
They usually finish between 16 to 20. Like they're never expected to gain points, top 10 finish or anything like that.
But that guy filled in at one point. There was one point where Hamilton had COVID and he filled in and he drove for. But it's fascinating to me, because it's like, if they're like NBA, like if there's a guy who's a free agent and he's like, all right, I'm going to sign with the Clippers, but he's playing the rest of the season with the Sixers, knowing that when that
it just doesn't happen, just works different over here, man.
It's wild. It's wild, and that's the thing that, like, over this whole COVID, like, the two things that I've kind of branched out into is like the EPL stuff and seeing how they're like the transfer windows and the relegation stuff blows my mind. That, like, the fact they're just like, forget you, you're in a whole completely different lower league, is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But you're right, like the professionalism of like knowing that, like, who was the guy who drove for Renault and then went to McLaren?
And that's Daniel Ricciardo, which is my favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
And he switched teams like 3 consecutive seasons.
Yeah, he went from Red Bull, Renault, then McLaren.
It's just wild. But listen, if you have not checked out that show, man,
I recommend it because I never was into F1 until I started watching it, and it's like, holy crap, this is actually entertaining.
Oh, it's not only is it entertaining, but it's like, it's insane the fact that, like, they're doing like 200 plus miles an hour. Yeah. I love the fact that it's a street course and it's not like, it's not NASCAR where it's like
left
a loop.
turn.
Right. It's a 3-hour left turn. So there is skill involved. But to see all the behind the scenes stuff, but to see that whole idea of them signing with teams mid-season and like, just blew me away.
I just think about when I watch those guys, it's like how other pro athletes, you start as a kid and you get better and better and better and you just work at it. It's like, how do you become that good of a driver? Because you technically can't drive until you're like 15 or 16. And like, it's like, let me go on the street. I'm going to practice driving 160 miles an hour. You know what I mean? You can't just do that. So it's just like crazy that these guys, like Lewis Hamilton is a freak. Like, these dudes are just so good at driving. And NASCAR, like The only skill is you have to know when, like, you have to understand the physics of it sometimes with the speed. But, like, really the car is, if you have a good car, it's just like horse racing. Like, if you have a really good horse, no matter how good of a jockey you are, if your horse is a beast, you're in better shape. So it's like F1, most of the cars are probably comparable. Different brands make better stuff. They might be quicker, off the start. Some of them have quicker speed long term, gas mileage, all that stuff matters. But there's the course riding. You need to actually be gifted to be able to drive this and, like, understand how much your car can take when you're pushing it too much. All that stuff. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
And Hamilton's won what, 8 in a row? Is that 8 in a row? 7 in a row?
No, this is gonna be 7 in a row, I think. Yeah.
And he only dates supermodels and like lead singers and shit too. He's wild. He likes to party too, I think, doesn't he?
I don't. He probably does. Honestly, I don't really follow him like that. I'm more of a I love watching him race because he has balls of steel. Jesus Christ, sometimes
it's crazy.
Like him and Max Verstappen watching them race is just like, you guys don't know what depth is. I feel like you guys are always pushing it to the limit. But I don't follow them like that. The only one that I do follow like that is Daniel Ricciardo. He's hilarious.
Well, he's hilarious, but he's also he is that that playboy type. He embraces it all.
Yeah.
Good for them, man. Whatever.
Yeah.
They're making a lot of money too, so I get it.
Seriously. All right, guys. But final thoughts. Let's close this out. Let's start with Nick first.
Yeah, just ready for football. We'll have some more talk next week. We'll see how the Eagles do. I promise, if it's a bad game, we won't talk Richie off the edge. We'll let him just be very sorrowful and angry because that's the best. But we'll see. I mean, I think that if we go into the season with expectations of just seeing growth at certain positions and not expecting a certain win total or expecting them to make the playoffs, like if that's your mindset going into it, being realistic but also optimistic, yeah, sure, I want them to win every game they play, but I'm not expecting them to go 13-4 now or 11-6. I'm expecting them to be in that 5 to 7, 8 win range. If they do that, that's great. I just want to see the coaching staff make good improvements, the roster have some flashes. I really think that that's the best thing. I mean, since we won't even talk about the Titans, I don't care. Ben Simmons, you're not on my mind, bro. I don't even care about you. So just want to see how the Eagles play, and then I want everybody to kind of have that, temper your expectations. Unless you're a supreme pessimist and you just think they're going to be awful, that's fine too. But then you'll be pleasantly surprised, I think, too. So that's fine.
Don?
I mean, listen, I'm in the same boat. This season is a season to watch differently. It's not a season. We are – please don't live and die with every week of this team. There is an opportunity for this team to show growth and see what is and we've been preaching this for a while now. This season is all about finding the talent to build that young core to build around moving forward. Find out what you have in Jalen Hurts. Find out what you have in that young wide receiver room. Find out what you have in your defense. But look for those those improvements on the margins where guys get better from week to week. Don't sit on it was a win or a loss. You're going to see this team right now reminds me a lot of the Panthers of last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
The team that was on the fringe in every game, scored a bunch of points, lost lost a bunch of games. To me, in my mind, that's going to show growth. Realistically speaking, I think they're a 6 to 7 win team.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm sitting here saying I would love to be sitting here at the end of December, January saying I was wrong. Prove me wrong. Go out and play. But let's be realistic with our expectations and realize that this team is not where we're not rooting for this team in the same way. We're not living and dying with every play, with every game.
Yeah.
You guys,
Oscar, what you got?
Yeah, I'm just gonna run a propaganda this entire NFL season. Just basically, how many starts is it gonna take for Joe Flacco to take over? But no, honestly, besides that, I think people think I'm kidding. I am gonna run an agenda this entire time. But no, I think you're right, Don. It's so weird, and it sucks as a sports fan to think that way. But you have to keep not optimistic, because at least the Eagles, it just can't be optimistic at this moment. You are rebuilding, you know that. There's no getting around to it. But you got to keep that expectation level at a medium, and it's just hard as a sportsman to do. I don't know how you would do it.
It is you have to be realistic. You can't get overzealous with your expectation, and it's going to be hard because we're going to be into the game. We're going to watch the game. And if they lose on a last second play, we're going to be fucking pissed. But I think we're all kind of on the same page.
Yeah. But either way, I'm still giving it 2 weeks.
Whether it's the Eagles or somebody else, Joe Flacco will be throwing the ball somewhere this year. That's Oscar's dream.
That's my final thought. He's going to be a starting QB, probably for a Super Bowl team.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh Lord, guys!
Talk about a real stand. Oscar is a Joe Flacco stand, baby. I respect it.
Ride or die, Just always gotta support the boy.
That's wild. Wild.
All right, guys. Well, it was a pleasure speaking to you, Philly.
Peace. Go buy those lots.
Enjoy the game.
Enjoy the game. Go get those Lots of Rain watches.
Yeah, go get them. Use promo code DOB. It doesn't stand for date of birth, so do not put your date of birth in that field.
Go get yourself some watches. Support us. Put the DOB in at checkout.
Yeah. See you guys.
Take care. Peace.